In a previous lecture, I mentioned preventable diseases as something that we should be concerned about protecting ourselves from, and not necessarily just the mugger that's hiding in the bushes. There's so much more to this, but what you have to understand in regards to physical fitness is it controls the very quality of your life. But more than that, it also controls your ability to project confidence. It's going to affect your posture. It's going to affect how you carry yourself, and it's going to affect the way that other people see you. Now, you don't walk around all the time concerned with how other people see you, but when we're dealing with a predator human, you do have to be concerned with what they're thinking when they see you. If they look at you and they're thinking you're someone they can separate from the herd, and because you're weak and sickly and you're not going to put up much of a fight, then you're more likely to be selected as a victim. You have to remember, the predators are not looking for a fight. You're a resource. You're not a challenge. You're just a resource. You're something, they can get something from you that they want. And you have to be aware of this. And so your physical health is going to have a big role in how safe you are. And the other thing that you have to think about in regards to your physical health, you have to understand that when you talk about, I'm going to be ready if the bad guy comes and tries to fight me, I'm going to be able to take care of myself. Are you fighting fit? And a lot of times the big guys that get out there and they'll huff and puff as they try to do a 15 move defense against a simple thing like a punch, and they're trying to show you how awesome they are and how much they know, and you can tell they would not be able to last in a fight. And if you say this to them, they come back with a response of, real fights don't last very long. No, real fights don't last very long, but they're extremely intense, and it takes a certain level of physical conditioning to be able to handle even a short fight. If you want to look at this realistically, try next time that you're in a CPR course. Go take one if you've never taken one, and you'll find out that just the simple act of 30 seconds of chest compressions on a plastic dummy can make you feel like you've done a whole lot more than 30 seconds of chest compressions. Just imagine actually being in a physical fight. And you've got, glass under your knees and dirt in your eyes and a guy trying to kill you and adrenaline messing up your brain. There's no good reason to not be in shape. And next we have to talk about lifestyle choices. This is really rotten ice, and that's probably why most people who teach a self-defense course don't want to touch this subject at all. You are in control of where you hang out, and you're in control of who you hang out with. If you spend most of your time with low-life criminals, you're going to become a low-life criminal. You're going to be going to the places that they go. You'll end up doing the things that they do. And because of that, you're probably going to end up in jail. And even if you don't end up in jail, you're going to end up in situations where you have to protect yourself. You're going to end up in dangerous situations that you walk into stupidly. And all you had to do was avoid it. You didn't have to be there in the first place, but you chose to be there. You make these choices every single day. Who am I going to hang out with? Who are my friends going to be? When you decide that, you're deciding what situations you'll end up in. These choices that you make increase and decrease your level of safety by default. And as I gave a talk on this one time, and I had some people that were just looking to be offended by things. And they said, well, that sounds an awful lot like you're blaming the victim. And it's no such thing. You should be able to go where you want and not be attacked, harassed, beaten, or killed. You should be able to do that. But the fact is, you have to deal with the world that we live in, not the one that's inside your head. You have to understand certain things, whether you like them or not, they are a fact. If you hang out in bars, you are much more likely to end up in a situation where you have to protect yourself. Alcohol makes people stupid. And so if you hang out where there are copious amounts of alcohol being consumed, you're going to end up in a situation at some point where you're less safe, and you will have wound up there by your own choice. What I tell my adult students is that if you have to drink, drink at home. Don't go out to other places. Don't go to these big parties where the whole point of the party is to get drunk. Bad things happen at those places. If If your primary objective is to stay safe, stay away from these places. So I have a friend of mine who commented to me recently that he has never been in a street fight. And he's a very accomplished martial artist. And my gut reaction was, that's not something to be ashamed of. It just means you've had a lifetime of making good decisions. If you make a lot of bad decisions, you end up in a situation where you have to get into fights all the time. But if you make good decisions, you're staying away from violence. Just avoiding it is so simple. And this is where the fact of your personal choices comes in and plays such a heavy role in your own personal safety. And I have to make one quick comment also in the way that people dress. I'm just using as a very clear-cut example the people that like to dress like a gangster, wear the pants under the butt and they tie the bandanas on their head, and they think that this is supposed to project this image that other people are going to be afraid of them because of this. Well, I know certain people that if you come around and you're dressed that way, if you surprise them at all, even with a simple, innocent, "Hi, how you doing?" you might get hit in the throat, or you might get stabbed. In some of them, you'll probably get shot. You have to understand that there are people who take this stuff seriously. They prepare themselves for dealing with that threat. And so if you're projecting that image of this is who you think you are, who you want people to think you are, it's not necessarily going to end well for you. And you might be a very nice person, but you have to be aware that when you send out those vibes, people make decisions based on the signals you send. When every single human makes snap judgments based on first impressions. Within a few seconds, they've already decided what kind of person you are.